Hi, this is Sarah Mikesell with the Pig Site, and today we're here with Dr. Dave Baumert. He is a technical services veterinarian with Zoetis. Thanks for being with us today, Dave.
Thanks, Sarah. Thank you for having me.
Very good. And we're here at World Pork Expo, and we want to talk about some new exciting news. But first, we're going to start with, tell us a little bit about the gilt gap.
So the gilt gap is a performance measure that's been identified recently, and what we're talking about is the difference between gilt performance and typical barrow performance. And what most people haven't really thought through or actually recognized the numbers on is the fact that gilts consume 10 or 11% less feed on average every day, which means they gain 5% less every day and end up going to market light.
Right.
And that difference between a light gilt carcass versus a typical barrow carcass, the other half of the population, is the gilt gap. And it creates an economic problem that the industry is starting to recognize.
Very good. And this has been going on for a long time, right? I mean, about
For-
half of the production, right, is
gilts.
gilts,
Yep.
right?
Yep. And we have fed gilts in separate barns. We've fed gilts in the same barn, but regardless of how they're fed, gilts and barrows are going to be fed and they're going to go to slaughter. And our concern is that not all pigs are created equal, and these gilts have always fallen behind. And it's something we're recognizing now as a significant
Right.
economic impact.
Right. And I think that's partly due to efficiency, right? We're all trying to become more efficient,
Yep.
right?
Trying to catch every penny off the bottom line, trying to just
Exactly.
improve animal performance.
Performance. Very
Yes.
good. So tell me a little bit about this exciting news that Zoetis announced today here at World Pork Expo.
Sure. So Improvest is a product, a technique that we have to increase performance, in this case, particularly for gilts. Improvest has been on the market for quite a few years. It's been used as a technology for increasing growth in male pigs in the past. But today's announcement is the recent label addition to gilts, and by using Improvest in gilts, we can minimize that gilt gap. In other words, we're going to bring gilts up to where they perform almost as well as their cohort barrows in the same pen.
Very good. And tell me a little bit about how it works.
Okay, so Improvest in gilts is labeled to suppress estrus. In gilts, if we can stop the estrus effect, then these gilts will gain better. In fact, after their second dose of Improvest, these gilts will increase feed consumption dramatically, which is what increases their weight gain. And that's how we're going to get these gilts to pick up most of that 5 to 7 pound disadvantage that they've had in the past going to slaughter.
Very good. And so what are some of the results that you guys are seeing?
What we're seeing is as I said, these gilts will gain an additional 5 to 7 pounds body weight, which is certainly good for the producer. And then that translates into an additional 4 to 5 pounds of carcass weight, which is good not only for the producer, but for the packer, or in this case, the integrator, where you have a producer-packer
Right.
single system.
Sure.
So that increased carcass weight is certainly good. And the meat quality is another issue. When these gilts put on more weight at the end of the growing period, there's also more marbling included. And so these Improvest carcasses that are coming out of our newly managed gilts, these Improvest carcasses will have more marbling. Particularly, they'll have a thicker, heavier belly, which is, the belly is the
Right.
bacon. So not only a producer gain, but also a packer gain when we use Improvest in our gilts.
Very good. And it's all about uniformity, right?
Yes, yeah. In the past, if we thought about, if we had actually looked at the types of animals that are being sold, the first cut, the big pigs out of the barn, have always been almost all barrows, and the gilts are always tailing out at the end.
Yeah.
When we provide Improvest to a set of gilts in a gilt barn or a gilt barrow barn, we will actually push more of these gilts to the heavier weights, more of them market out earlier, but more importantly, they don't mark it out as tail enders.
Right.
And so we increase the weight, the performance on the bottom end of the pen, which had been gilts in the past and won't be gilts anymore.
Very good. And it sounds like that's all going to improve the bottom line of the producer, right?
Overall, definitely. We'll increase the bottom line of the producer and provide a better product for the packer or the packer integrator.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for all the information today.
You're very welcome.
This is Sarah Mikesell with the Pig Site.